called TestPrep by InsideIIM, where you find exclusive content and resources for CAT preparation and other exams. I'm Shraddha, and this is Radhika, my co-panelist. Today, we are here to discuss our CAT preparation journey and some tips and tricks that we followed along the way and might be helpful for the current aspirants. But before that, we'll just like to shortly introduce ourselves. So my name is Shraddha Smriti, and I did my undergraduation from NIT Surathkal last year. And after that, I've been working since the past 1 year, and I got a percentile of 99.61 in CAT 2021. And my sectional breakdowns are in BRC, I got 98.7, in DILR it was 98.9, and in Quant it was 98.5. And I got calls from IMB, C, LIK, and FMS and all the new IIMs. And I'll be joining IMB the next month. So over to you, Radhika.
So good evening, everyone. I'm Radhika Mohta, and I've done my bachelor's in information technology. Post that, I have a work ex of about 3 years. And I have got calls from like all the colleges, ABC, LKI, Shillong, and the CAP calls, and FMS Delhi too. Converted almost all of them other than Shillong. And yeah, I'm waitlisted in Calcutta, and I'll soon be joining FMS Delhi. So that's about me. So as the session is titled the dream percentile thing. So Shraddha, going about you, like 99.61 is great. And I would like to ask you, what was the dream percentile that you had aimed for, like initially when you started the prep?
So I didn't have anything called as a dream percentile. It was more like a target percentile that I had in my mind. Like before starting, I had talked to a few of my seniors in these top IIMs, and seeing my profile and the work ex I have, I was targeting, I got to know that I should be targeting somewhat around a 99.5 if I have to be in a safe zone to get calls from all IIMs. But when I started my preparation, it seemed quite far-fetched, a 99.5. So I thought of like anything above a 99 would suffice. And so I started my preparation somewhat around this time last year itself. And so it was roughly a preparation of 6 months. Yeah. What about you? Did you have a number in your mind?
Okay, so like the dream percentile, see, when I had started, I thought 100, but 100 was surely unattainable. So I went down and I went to 99.99. Even that, like the way my mocks were going, that was also like nothing which I could reach. So I went to 99.89 and 79. And then there had to be like a point. So 99.69 was a percentile I was aiming for, because again, I wanted something above 99.5 at least, because FMS is my dream school. And if they are giving say 40 to 50% weightage to the CAT score, so leaving apart all my CATs in class 10th and 12th and my college degree as well, and my work ex as well, because that will not even be accounted for if I have to get a call in FMS Delhi. So for that, I really had to have a percentile which was like enough to get me a call. And that is why 99.69 was what I was aiming for. And I got like 99.65. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yes, sure. So, okay, like moving forward, let's discuss some of the common questions that the current aspirants might have, and we also had when we started our preparation. So the first question would be, when did you decide to take the exam, and did you take guidance from someone?
Okay, so Shraddha, like you told, same about this time only last year. I would not say this time. See, for me, it was at in 2019. I actually had registered for the exam, but I did not even make it to the center because I was very scared of it. And my preparation was just like about a month, and I was not ready to go for the exam. So I did not go to the center. Then in 2020, I didn't take that attempt at all, like not registration, no preparation, nothing. It was in 21, in May itself, I guess, around this time, that I had thought that I have to take the exam. And yeah, I did talk to a few people, and I'm lucky enough to have a few people from MBA, I mean, who have this MBA degree already. I have people who have done MBA in my family, so I had to talk to them about this, and they were like, do take a chance, because you're losing nothing. Like, even if this does not work out, you can always go and do whatever you're doing. Like, I'm a software developer, so I could have always continued with that stream itself. So yeah, this time around, and I did talk to a lot of people because I was not sure whether to pursue my stream or to go for an MBA. And I think answering this question about why MBA is very helpful because it helps you not only in the interviews, but also while you're starting the preparation, that why exactly do you want to do this? So that was my story. And how about you, Shraddha? When did you think that we'll go about with this?
So it was in the back of my mind, I think, since January last year that I wanted to do an MBA in the future. So January to May, it was all about talking to seniors, seeing these YouTube videos, getting to know what toppers are doing. And then so finally, I started somewhat around May. And in terms of talking and guidance, there are a few seniors from my college who are studying currently in these top IIMs. So those people were very sweet to help me with everything, guiding me throughout the journey. So yeah, and yeah, that's about me.
So talking about the same thing, when we start the preparation, the first thing that comes to our mind is strategy.
Yes.
So did you have something in place itself when you started off, or how did you come up with the strategy and like section wise and the whole CAT exam as a whole? How was this strategy thing for you?
So in terms of strategy, I did have a strategy in mind starting, but it didn't work out that way going forward because there were a lot of changes, a lot of things that I had planned and didn't go the way. But if I talk about the looking back about the three sections, it was quite different compared to each other because everything requires a special attention and based on your your level, where are you in those sections. So being an engineer, as usual, I was weak in BRC, and that was my first target that I had to achieve, getting a decent enough attempt rate and also decent enough score. So for VRC, it was all about reading. So I read an A on essay every day. And apart from that, it was all about practicing a few RCs, giving mocks. That was all for my VRC strategy. I used to go back and see what was the mistake there, but not much of a strategy. It was more like how much I can read and how much I can solve. For DILR, I had a quite a extensive strategy in mind. Like I kept the last previous year question papers as my source because the CAT sets that you get there are quite unique and it'll give you an correct way as to where you should be targeting around. So we have papers from 2017 to 2020, 21 now. So ample amount of sets you get there. So solving those basically repeatedly, and also the mocks that I used to give, I used to solve those as well on a repeated basis. So I had maintained an Excel where I had written down each question number and I used to mark them in color codes like green, yellow, and red. So every time I come back to the question, I used to target that the red questions become yellow and the yellow one becomes green. So my sample set for DLR was quite low, but it helped me, to increase my accuracy and increase my score. For quant, being an engineer, I mostly followed a approach of reverse engineering where I used to solve questions directly from previous years and the mocks, and then whichever topic I felt that I'm lagging or the formulas I don't really know or have forgotten, I used to go back there and then from Arun Sharma CAT book itself, I used to only solve those chapters, see those formulas. So I was pretty okay with quant, so a bit of reverse engineering helped me there. And yeah, that is all about, I think, my three section strategy. What about you? Anything to add?
Talking about the strategy thing again, just like you told, even if you have it in place at the beginning, you have got to change it. It is not the one that will work out on D-Day. In fact, like the D-Day is very different from mocks. Like for me, it's very different. Never ever got what I got on D-Day. So again, going section wise, what we like being an engineer, it was expected out of me that I could do very well in quants. And the hard truth is that I was the poorest in quants. So my section wise, the percentiles I've got is 99.2 in VARC and 99.75 in DILR. And my quants is there at about 96. So I was really not good at quants. And I knew that this was a section which would, maybe take me down. So what I had to do was to strengthen the other two sections sections in such a way that, that assures my percentile, and I don't have to depend upon the third section so much. Like, I can do a bit less good in it also and still, make through. So going by that, talking about VARC, I used to be a very nice reader. And this is for all the readers out there. Just because you are a very avid reader of books and you have a collection of books that you have read before, it does not assure a good score in VARC, because VARC is not like reading novels. It is about reading passages of very high level English in about 5 to 6 minutes, answering them properly in about 8 minutes, and moving on to the next RC, getting all your PJs correct and all your parajumbles and all sentence completion and whatever comes in cat correct. So for VRC, the strategy was to read as much as possible. So what we used to do, like, we were a group of friends who used to follow this because we know, what each one is doing and prepare in that manner. We used to read up on Aeolian, Psyche, Nautical, and all such. There is a list of places where you'll get good articles. So go for them. Even if you don't understand it, even if the article is 5,000 words long, still read it, because you have to get into that habit of reading for VRC. And then gradually with time, it will all, make sense. You see the mistakes that you're making and take help from others, because that is what helps a lot. Second, DILR for me as well. The most common source was these previous year's papers, because again, the type of sets that you will get, the most you'll come close to them is from previous year's papers. So DILR, that was a thing. And a lot of YouTube channels and videos that I used to follow. There used to be playlists from, say, iQuanta or quantifiers, and there were a lot of places where these playlists were uploaded by these coaching institutes. That is what I used to do for DILR. You have to see as much variety of sets possible. So that was the DILR strategy. For QA, honestly, I still don't have a strategy in place. My only strategy was just to attempt the ones that I know how to attempt, because again, arithmetic has a very high weightage on QA, and getting the arithmetic part of it correctly could ensure a good percentile. So that was basically the strategy that I used for QA. So I did, 0 wrong in QA. That was the thing that I had to follow. That even if I do a very few of the questions, I have to get them all correct in place. That is my QA strategy. That's about the strategy side.
Yes. So I also had like a similar kind of thing, that either you can increase your attempts or either you can have a greater accuracy. So whichever you are comfortable with, go along with that. So going to the next question, how did you prepare, Radhika? Like, did you do self-study, self-paced courses, or did you go for some coaching?
Okay, so like I told, I was working, and it already was 2+ years of work that I had gone through. I could not take coaching because it requires a lot of time and dedication to put in that much of time into coaching and then doing your self-study. So I had to go for self-study. Self-study is a term we use, but it is never self-study, because the more you start, maybe giving mocks and being on these social media channels where they practice questions and all, you'll then and then you'll start getting a group of friends who will be, giving cat along with you. And then it is no more self-study, because you get resources from a lot of people. You can discuss the questions, you can give and discuss that what went wrong, what could you have done better, and you have that sense of Aspirants, what coaching would do is that they bring in that sense of competition, because you'll see how others are performing. And similarly, I had a group of friends with whom I used to do mocks and studying every day, giving sectionals and all. And so that was it. It was not exactly self-study. So we did it together. That is what I would say. And how about you, Shraddha? What did you do for, preparing?
Oh, yeah, I also didn't take any coaching because I thought the weak spots that I had were quite specific. I didn't want the coaching for everything, and I wanted to study some targeted things like VRC being my weekend. So I just stick to my resources, and actually I didn't have a peer to study with, because as I was working from home and everyone was quite far. So I did everything by my own, and mostly these YouTube videos were my, sailing through, because whenever I thought that why is this happening to me, is the problem only with me, I used to go online, see toppers talk about their their journey, and I would feel a bit assured that okay, this is a way to go forward, and I might get better. So yeah, it was all preparation by myself. So, and I think we have a YouTube comment where someone is asking that they have scored quite low in RC, and it was their first mock. So yeah, they're quite worried. So to be assuring all the aspirants, like I have got in some section even negative marks in my mocks, some of my
Yeah,
sections.
totally. I would agree with that, Shraddha. I mean, there was a negative in VRC and I thought I could never do it.
Yeah. So and actually they have you have quite a bit of time. 6 months is a large amount of time. You can slowly incrementally improve, and these mocks are of varied levels. Some are very tough, some are very easy, some are on the level.
Hmm.
So just it's a journey to give mocks, and the learning will happen when you analyze the mock more. That is what and yeah.
And you can always, like, even if, I mean, it is the very starting point, I think, for even looking at the mock scores. That is what I would believe. Like, that score would mean nothing. You can just go on reading articles. There is New Yorker or Boston Magazine and Aeon and Psyche and Nautical. Just go on reading, and VRC will improve. That is, I guess, Shraddha, you also would agree to that, because it
Yes.
takes time to improve, but it does improve.
Yes.
Okay. So Shraddha, talking about again mocks part, how did you go about the mocks and maybe sectionals also? How did you give them, analyze them, which ones, like your views entirely on mocks?
So the view on mock is like solid that you need to give mocks. CAT is not a an exam where you can just read theory and then go and perform good in the exam. You need to practice. So giving mocks is the best way to practice, and the earlier you start giving mocks, the better it is for you. Because CAT syllabus is not a syllabus that is going to end anywhere, and also you don't need to end the syllabus to start giving mocks. So the best way to start is whenever you start preparing, that would be the best time to start. And giving mocks is a good thing, but the more important thing is analyzing them. If you don't analyze your mock, there's no need of and no point of basically giving a mock. So after you give a mock, the real learning happens. So basically, I learned this from Career Launchers YouTube mentors from a YouTube video there, that once you do a mock within the time limit, you're supposed to do it without the timer, so that when you do it without the timer, you know if you're really not able to solve the question, or is the timer issue for you. Because if you're really not able to solve, maybe you should go read some books and gain a few knowledge. Otherwise, if it's the time issue, you need to practice or improve your strategy. So that was my weekly ritual, as where I used to give Saturday a mock, and Sunday I used to analyze the mock, then and then go about seeing the YouTube, not the video lectures that were video solutions. So I had taken Career Launchers mock, so they had a proper video solutions for all their mocks. So that helped me to fill in the knowledge gap, and the practice also helped. What about you, Radhika? When did you start taking mocks?
I totally concur with your views. You told that start the mock. Like, even now, if I get a few DMs asking when to start mocks, they have not completed the syllabus, I say this only to them, that there is no syllabus for CAT. You don't have to finish everything. Like, I even the CAT toppers would say that it is not like they knew everything. It was just that you have to have a strategy in place, that you do the things that you do know. So that is it. And mocks as early as you can start is the best thing. Never wait for the syllabus to complete, because it won't complete till the last day before you get in the center. It won't complete. Give the first mock as early as you can. I gave it in about April itself, because I was actually testing whether I can go for the exam or not. So when I gave it in April or maybe May, June, the scores were never that great, but I still used to give them. And the second point, just again, like Shraddha mentioned, you have to have a very nice, analysis going on in place. If you just go on giving the mocks and never look at the sums that you could not do, or a VRC, maybe PJ that you could not solve, or a DILR set, there used to be such difficult sets also. But on analysis, there are some tips and tricks that this is how the set has to be approached. So you have to go through the analysis part and keep on learning things. In fact, every mock is a learning in itself. There is no mock where you are not learning something new, because the day you are doing this, you are getting 100%. So every mock is a learning in itself. And for me, in fact, I never went through books or watching videos for I did a mock from the mock only. So that was the cycle I had always followed. Give a mock, learn from the mock, give the next mock, don't make the same mistakes, learn something new. That is how mocks should be taken and analysis of the mocks should be done. That is like why if you have it, mock starting or
I missed you, Radhika.
Shraddha also, do you? Yeah. Hello.
Yeah,
I'm
you're audible now.
audible.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is how I would say like my mock thing went. It was always give a mock, analyze and learn from it. Don't make the same mistakes again and learn something new. That is how it was always for me.
Okay. Nice. Same. I have similar feelings about that.
Yeah. Okay. So Shraddha, do you think like along with mocks, sectionals is also as necessary? And if yes, then how many did you take or did you take or not? Your views on that.
So, sectional, I think, are necessary when you think that you have a weak end somewhere among the three. So, giving a full length mock is good enough if you have, an equal standing on all the three sections. But if you think that you are lagging somewhere more, a sectional is a great way to go ahead. Like, basically, for me, I was, targeting section by section during my preparation. So when I started, I was more focused on VRC because that was my like the least strongest part. So for that, I started with, in the starting, I started giving one mock per week with a sectional as well for only VRC. And once VRC was up to the mark, I thought I needed more pushing for DILR. So there I started giving a few here and there. So I would say in the whole preparation, I would have given 3 to 4 sections for each of these sections. So, but if someone is, targeting like a particular section and trying to improve a particular section, a sectional is a good way to go about it. As it's now the exams is only for per section is 40 minutes. So you can, without that hesitation, sit for 40 minutes, give it, analyze it, get a learning, and then apply it. So whatever is your weak point, just try giving sections. And like I wouldn't, recommend someone on giving up a section in the very starting. Like if you have 6 months and you think you can improve to that level, it's better to put in all effort equally in all the three sections. Maybe during the October and November time, if you still feel that you're lagging in a section, you can focus on the other two and keep the third one on a decent level. But starting now, a section is a great way to give mocks, and also like for now, if aspirants want to give more tests instead of a mock, they can take a section. So with the mock, give one sectional per week. So that was also a great way of improving your marks. Yeah. What about you? Did you take any sectionals strategy for that?
So initially, what I used to think was that since CAT is just a 2-hour test, I should practice it in that manner only. I should just sit for 2 hours and give one by one all the three sections. And I was totally against sectionals in the very beginning. I never gave a sectional until I guess maybe September. And that is when I purchased my first sectional set. And I realized that how important it is to give sectionals. Because when you sit for an entire mock, you are not working on that one section which you are not faring well into. Also again, because I was working and like it was a full-time job, I had to dedicate as much time to the mocks and then analysis. But when I started giving sectionals, it was just a 40-minute thing. I can just give it on the go. I can just give 40 minutes of sectionals, analyze it in about 20 to 30 more minutes, and one of the section is done. And that I could do multiple times a day as well. I could give 2 to 3 sectionals in one day. And sectionals are very helpful again, because there might be that one section where you're not doing good at all in the mocks, and that is what is again and again taking your mock percentile down. In that case, sectionals can help do that part very nicely. Also, while I used to take sectionals from the place I'd purchased them, I also used to give sectionals from every place possible. Like there are these institutes again. Catway gives VRC sectionals, and they were very nice. I used to do them regularly, every and each day. There was Anastasis Academy. They had 15 sectionals for each of the sections and such detailed explanations. A lot of QA concepts I had learned from them itself. So I used to give sectionals more than mocks. At the end, it was that I had given lesser mocks and more of sectionals, because 45 though I had purchased and given, and other than that, maybe another 45 I had given from wherever I can get sectionals. So yeah, also it again makes you aware of different types of questions, because the mock that you are giving might not be giving those questions, but the sectional can have those questions. So sectionals were a game changer for me. I would recommend it to everyone who takes mocks and thinks that sectionals are not important. They are really, really very important.
Yes, like even when in the end, like similar as you, I was not confident in DLR that much. But when I used to sit for a mock, like not giving a good DLR section would affect my quant as well. That mindset used to carry on. So for quant, I used to think that okay, let me give a section apart from this also, so that I give it from a clear mindset instead of not having that baggage from DLR. So there also it can help, like if you're afraid for a section in the starting as well, if you are too poor in some and you don't want to give full lengths, you can go ahead and give section while keep the other sections also waiting. So yeah, so taking up the next question, Radhika. So did you score low in one particular section, or how did you deal with it and with the constant low scores, if you had low scores?
Yeah. So there was not one particular section where I was scoring low. It used to, fluctuate. It was never one particular section. But I do remember this one again, like I told, my dream school was FMS Delhi. I had to have a very nice score in VARC. And there was this one day when my VARC marks went to a negative, -1 it was like. So that was the point I felt that I cannot do it with such a low score in VRC. And I'm such a I was scared so much I did not give mock for about almost 20 to 25 days. I was not giving a mock. I could not bring myself up to give a mock because I was scared of the score. So yeah, there is also this one learning to the aspirants that I would like to say, that don't look at your mock scores. They are not at all what you might get on the D day. So the mocks are not a reflection of your D day performance. And I was not giving mocks, but it was not that I had given up on my preparation. I had been, again, reading articles and giving sectionals. Again, when I sectionals helped me a lot. When I could not bring myself up to give a mock, it was sectionals that kept me, afloat. I was still doing sectionals, and like sectionals, I used to give good also. It was never that I was scoring bad in a sectional, but when it went to a full-fledged mock, I was scoring bad. Later on, I realized it was also because some of the tests that they had set had really very difficult RCs, and that is what was hampering this thing. So when you're scoring particularly low in one section, what you can do is go and try doing sectionals of that. Instead of sitting in a mock of the one that you have purchased, try giving sectionals from some other institute, because it might also be that the paper they are setting is just so difficult that you don't really need to give that kind of a difficult test at all, that kind of a difficult mock, which can bring your morale so down. So in that case, go for sectionals, and go for sectionals from various sources, not from just one source, so that you know whether is it something going wrong with you, or was it something just wrong with the mock itself. That is how I took my low sectional thing. So that did it also happen with you
Yes,
somewhere down the prep
I
journey?
think every aspirant somewhere, there is a month of time where you don't give any mocks. Like you get so dejected with the mock scores, you just think that, okay, maybe I should
Yeah.
just prepare and take some time off and just prepare without giving mocks. So for me, TILR was a bottleneck.
Okay.
So I don't know where I was lagging in the starting. Was it the selecting the wrong sets or
Mm-hmm.
giving more time to a set and getting stuck somewhere? So
Mm-hmm.
my main problem was DILR. Like in the mocks that I was giving, the sets were quite difficult compared to the normal CAT previous year sets, and so it used to bring my scores down, my morale down. And I remember I couldn't even solve like in the starting one set out of the four sets in the mocks. So, and this continued even in the month of October and the first week of November, somewhere around that I was only able to solve one or, one and a half set. So, and that was not at all decent enough to get me to where I wanted to go. But seeing the real paper, I solved actually three sets. So that was a fairly good enough number for me. So yeah, the same thing, like, these mocks might be very difficult, or, even if it's, like the way they are framed, or actually they can't replicate the way CAT makes the paper. So it's better to, not rely on the scores too much and take it as a practice. Take it as a practice source, practice questions, and keep solving them instead of, just for thinking about why am I not scoring, why am I score stagnant, why are they not increasing, why. So you never know what is going to happen in the real exam. And seeing, I used to tell that DILR is my weakest section, but out of the three, I got the highest in DILR. So it's quite ironic, but yeah, anything can happen on the D day. What paper you get,
Exactly.
what set you get. So better to, just go with the flow in the mocks and not think much. And it's
Right.
very it's quite difficult to, practice it when you are in that mind frame. But keeping somewhere, subconsciously that, okay, these are not a true reflection of my preparation, will help you to, cope up with it a bit. So which mock series did you prefer, Radhika?
Talking about mock series that I prefer, uh, initially I heard just these three names, IMSCL and Time Mocks. And I just took SimCAT because everyone was taking it. So I took SimCATs. Okay, just took them. But again, I just took mocks. I mean, not the sectional part of SimCAT. And one thing that again I would like to mention it is that when you are a newbie, because I was giving CAT for the first time, I had no knowledge which mock to take, which mocks to give. So people used to say that you're just taking a SIM card. When you're purchasing it, you just have to give the live SIM cards that I mean the proctored ones, proctored SIM card. But again, I was a newbie in this field. I used to give the take home SIM cards as well. So I had taken almost all of them, take home 101, 102. These are the series of SIM cards and taken all of them. And later on, people told me that this is not what you have to give. You have to just give the SIM card 1, 2, 3, the one they give for proctored one. So one thing that I would like to say here is that when you're a newbie and you know nothing, it helps a lot because you don't know what the trend is and you just do things how you feel it is right. Because I have taken some cuts, I was like, I'll give all of them. I'll not listen to people and I'll give all of them. It did help me a lot. I had seen so much variety in maybe DILR or something that it does help because the more variety you see in DILR, it will help. The more you read in VRC, it will help you. So there is no harm in taking those take home ones. Do take them if you're purchasing it. But then down the line, like I told, that after April, May, June, July, August, maybe or September, I took sectionals as well. For sectionals, what I thought was because I already have SimCATs, I don't want to take their sectionals. I also did not want to take CL or time because CL time my friends had taken. I always used to get the questions and we used to discuss it together. So there was another CRAQ. So I took sectionals from CRAQ itself, and they also gave mocks. So the thing about CRAQ, what I found nice was that their VRC was exactly like I could give. The SimCAT VRC was a lot on the difficult side, and maybe it didn't go well so much with me. But the CRAQ VRC was something which had boosted my confidence a lot, and that is when I realized that it differs mock to mock. It does not. It has nothing to do with you. It is to do with whether you are giving a SimCAT or a CL or time or CRAQ mock. That will hamper that how much scores you're getting and all. But one suggestion here is that if you have peer group that is studying with you, make sure all of you take a different mock and then you discuss questions, because the more variety you see, the more it is going to help you. So always try that you take different mocks, give different mocks, and then come home and discuss the questions so that you know the taste of every mock that is coming. That is the suggestion that I have. And Shraddha, which mocks did you prefer?
So I went with the career launcher mocks. So I had taken the full package, which had the full length and sectional as well. So I went through that, but and it was pretty decent, and I opted for it because as I was self preparing, and so I wanted the video solutions to the mocks, because I wanted I wanted at least a correct source where I could get all the comprehensive answers to whatever questions are there in the mock. So it was there in Career Launcher, and I went ahead with that. And moving forward, the mocks were pretty good, and they had live videos solutions for it. And but the only problem was that it was I felt it was a bit difficult compared to the real mock, the real CAT paper. So it was a feedback that I was getting from the seniors before taking also, but I felt it like when I was giving. But I think somewhere around the month of October, November, I was getting a bit demotivated seeing those mocks scores. And I think the level also constantly increased for those mocks. So after that, I took a Cat King mock, and it was on a lower difficulty side. So it's actually boosted my confidence in those months. And
Yeah,
in those,
exactly. It does help at that period of time. It does help a lot because you need a boost in the confidence level.
yes, yes. Like, because yeah, that time it was more about revising what I've already learned, and having a good mindset, having a confidence in yourself that you can do. So for that, I went ahead with Cat King, and there my mocks were pretty good enough, and and I think that is what pulled me in the real Cat exam as well. So yeah, it basically gave me a thing that okay, the problem is not with me. Maybe the mocks are a bit difficult, but seeing the mocks, if you're starting these, standard mocks, they put in a lot of effort, these coaching institutes, creating these mocks every year. So they are quite trusted, and you should go ahead with this. Maybe, in the later months, you can opt for a easier mock, but starting with these mocks will be very good for having a good learning curve, I think.
Yeah, I concur you on this, that go with trusted names initially, and then as you see your weak points, you can make a different choice also, an informed one. So that is also how much time did you maybe invest and dedicate to each of the sections per day
Yeah.
on a per day basis?
So actually, as I was working, I could only, invest somewhat around 2 or 3 hours daily on weekday, and it did make sense for me to, study each section every day, because in 3 hours, if I give 1 hour each to each section, it breaks the flow of me solving the questions. So on a daily basis, one thing for sure that I had to read an A1 essay. That was a non-negotiable thing. And apart from that, I used to, focus maybe 2, 3 days. I used to study quant and then complete a chapter, then move on to a type of question in TLR. And so it was more about, till the point I could, I didn't get bored from that section. I used to go ahead and then maybe change it. So, but if you average it out, it would be somewhat around, 3 to 4 hours of preparation per week for each section. So, and that is, I think, a decent enough number to go ahead. But if people can have their own choices. If they want smaller sessions in a day with each of these sections every day, they can go ahead with that. Or studying 2, 3 days one section and then moving ahead with the another section and doing a rotation of that. If that makes sense more to you, you can go ahead with that as well. So, what did you do, Radhika?
I had no such division that I will invest so much time in so and so section. So how exactly like you told, I was also working and I could not have dedicated section time. So what I used to do, there was one thing that I was very consistent in it, because even if I went out or someday when the workload was a lot, it still I would not miss studying. Like that was something I would just not miss. I will do it every day, whatever happens, whatever it be. So, and section wise, if I talk, it was divided into like VRC. I prefer doing it early in the morning itself, because as the day goes on, the more things I get into my head, the less I can concentrate on an RC. So what I wanted to do was that in the morning itself, when I wake up, I'll read all the essays that I have to read, and I'll go and give my sectionals. For VRC, I'll be done at that time itself. For DILR, I would always do it in the midday, because maybe that is when I could think a lot or something. QA was the section I dreaded and I used to shy away from. But then for QA used to do in the nights, because it used to get extended a lot. I was learning concepts and again discussing, because I had a very nice peer group I used to study with. So QA, everyone would solve the entire day a little bit, and in the end, at the night, we would discuss everything that we didn't know, learn new concepts, give the doubts that we have, send it across, get the solutions, and learn as much as we can in QA, because QA was the section that I did it and I had to do it a lot. So QA I used to do in the night. That is how I had divided my the time I would invest in a particular section.
I think it was along the similar line, like because I was working, the day would be unpredictable, like
unpredictable, right?
Yeah, so I also used to, get up a bit early in the morning, get done with all my study stuff in the morning itself, because actually I didn't have the mental energy that after working I could study as well. So I used to just devote 2, 3 hours in the morning and then go ahead with my day, rest of the things. So yeah. Okay. Moving on to the next question. What was your lowest point during the whole preparation, or if you had a lowest point?
It used to be lowest, because scores are giving up. Especially I mentioned the negative one that I got in VRC. It was the lowest. I didn't touch a mock for a few days altogether. So that was one of the lowest points. The other one was like when you have a dedicated peer group and suddenly maybe one of them falls down, or one of them does not score well, or one of them is say hospitalized or something, and that disrupts your preparation as well, because a lot of it is dependent on them. Because when you're studying in a group, you study together, and they are bringing me up, I'm bringing them up whenever they are down. So one of the other lowest points was that my group, everyone was scoring low, and I was also scoring low. No one could bring up each other, and one of them was even hospitalized for a while. So all that, but we all took up from there, because post that we had been again scoring well, doing recently, and that is all the lowest point that I could remember right now. So that, did you have any such well-defined kind of a lowest point in your preparation journey?
So I think I used to have a low point every time I used to give a mock, but
Yeah, totally. I would agree with it. Every mock score is a low point. None of them is like, I have made it.
Yeah, like there would be one section that would not go well, and then yeah, but I think the lowest point was when I scored a -3 in DLR section. So I attempted I think just one question. I think I attempted somewhat around 3 questions and all three were wrong. So like that was the lowest point, seeing the negative on the on the screen. So, and actually I didn't give a mock for I think 1 month after that. For 4 straight weeks, I didn't give a mock. Like I was too dejected seeing that negative marks. But and yeah, since then I had a fear for DLR. Like whenever that paper used to come, I was like, oh, I should hurry up, find the easiest set, solve those, and get something in my bucket at least. So yeah, I think the thing that I dreaded was DLR, and it was the main reason for my lows during the preparation.
At some point of time, you should stop looking at scores of others also, because that is what would make you also afraid of it a lot. So that is one of the points that I would like to mention, that stop looking at the scores, just focus on the preparation part, and everything will just fall in place. And our journeys are quite similar in that one section you did it, and that negative score did not let you give another mock. Happened the same with me for VRC, but There were a group of friends that had brought me up. They used to invest a lot of time so that I get back on track with VRs. So, Shraddha, the next question, like any mistakes that you made in your preparation, and you would like the aspirants to know about it so that they do not make this mistake?
Yeah, so I think the one mistake that we have talked about many times is taking mocks too seriously. Like, taking them as the final go through, like taking it as a reflection of your real CAT marks. So that was the biggest thing. And I think we also would have heard this from our seniors, the YouTube videos we watched. But when it comes to practicing it, it becomes a bit difficult. But yeah, if you start keeping that somewhere in the back of your mind, that just going ahead with the journey and trying to make it is more than enough, and it'll just sail you through. So the first thing would be and just don't think too much of the mock. The second would be like the initially when I started giving mocks and I didn't used to score that well, I used to not even analyze those mocks. I used to be like, okay, maybe I'll, prepare some well and then give a mock, and then that will be my proper mock, and then I'll start analyzing those mocks. But it's a quite a wrong thing to do, because you get to learn from the mocks that you perform poorly in, not from the ones that you solve good in. If you've solved good already in the exam, you might need even less time to analyze those mocks and have quite less learning. But the ones that don't do well are the ones that will give you the most teaching. And try applying as many different strategies during those 2 hours or 3 hours, that maybe sometime you can go with, okay, I'll do all the RCs first and then all the single questions, or maybe I will mix it up and then do an alternate thing. Or for DILR, you'll do something and start from the top, start from the bottom. You can apply all kinds of permutation and combinations with your strategy. Like for quant also, you can have a round strategy where you go through all the easy ones in the first round, then the medium ones in the second one. Or you can take your time and go through it from have a dedicated amount of time for each question. So there are a lot of strategies that people have discussed, which you follow during the exam, and just try playing around with them in the mocks. Something might click for you, and go ahead with that. Like I used to remember, like for BRC, it was more like people were like, okay, go ahead with RCs first, as they require more of your attention, and then go ahead with the parajumbles and rest of the question. But for me, it worked more when I used to do those single questions, because single questions are easier to crack, and it'll give you an instant confidence that, okay, I have something in my bucket. So after that, move on to an RC. So there's a not an ideal strategy that people say. It all depends on what works for you. And I think the one more mistake would be that I was preparing section by section. So I started with VRC, and I was like, no, I'll only work on VRC until my VRC doesn't go to a level that I want. Because so, and after that happened, I was stuck with DILR. So it also, it gave me very less time for my quants in terms of my 6 months preparation. So it's better to have a round thing where you give like equal importance to all sections. Don't get stuck in one section, because it doesn't matter in the real exam where you score. It all depends on the final marks. So if you get marks in VRC or quants, it's just that you need to balance out things. So yeah, anything that you would like to share, Radhika?
The front of, like, I wouldn't term anything of them as a mistake, because if it was a mistake, I wouldn't have been here. So everything was a learning, that I would say. And what I would say to the aspirants is that you'll have your own set of everything. I have read a lot of strategies, but in the end, the one that works out for you is the best. Like for QA itself, I have read about the 10 questions scan. When you see 10 questions, move ahead, 10 questions, move ahead. There is another strategy which says see all the questions and then go back and do them. To be honest, on that day, none of the strategies worked. I was just like, if I'm seeing the question, if it's something that I know, I will do it right away. Else I'll go forward. I'm coming back also and doing when it is just clicking that, okay, I knew that one. And no strategy worked in Q, at least for me. For DILR, I would say there is no strategy. There is just also do things as random as when I used to give sectional surf again, crash you, there used to be very, old sets. There are some sets which will not come anymore. The pattern has gone away. Do not think that. Still do that. And the people are like in DILR, if there is 6 sets coming in a sectional, everyone won't do it, thinking that this is one which I will not attempt. Many people won't do the Venn diagram set because it is a difficult one. People would just skip it. But it's better that you know it. Knowing anything, there is again no harm. So the more you know, the more beneficial it will be. For VARC, maybe reading is the only strategy that I have. Read as much as you can. Talking about mistakes again, mocks is nothing. It's not a reflection of, that day. Because if it was, I know people who used to score like very less in mocks, and that day they had scored absolutely brilliant and very nice in their mocks, and that day just did not work out in their favor. So do not, mocks is just something that you can do and you can practice from, but you have to register for CAT and give it is something just different. Mock is different and CAT is different, and take it like that. Also, one more thing is that you can, this again, I've read at a lot of places that CAT is just this one exam and not different sections, that you should practice them differently. But what I feel is that if that works out for you, it is very nice. For me, it worked out because when I had given my VRC is something you can never be confident about until and unless you see the answers. You can never say that, okay, you have done well in VRC. So when on the D day, when I had done my VRC, I was like, I guess I've messed the paper up, and I've done nothing good in this, because you don't know your marks in VRC.
Yes.
But treat it as a sectional. Once you have completed it, move on to the next section and start afresh. Don't even think what you have done in the previous section, because it might be that in the first section you get an 70-80 percentile, but if the others you can make it up to 95 plus, 95 plus, you'll still get very very so that is something I even did not believe before giving it, but after giving, I can say this very safely. Treat them as separate sectionals and start them afresh. Give them like you did not give a section just before it. When I went to my QA section, I was already having no confidence about my VRC or DILR. In spite of the fact that I had done 3 sets in DILR, and what I thought that day was, I guess the sets are way too easy, and everyone has maybe done the 4th one even. So that is what I was going, that thought I had. But then when I started Q, I thought, forget all about it. Let's give QA now. So that is all that I would like
Yeah,
to
I think it's
aspirants to know about.
yeah,
Yes.
I think it's along the similar lines that having a mindset of sectional wise will help you in the long run. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I think
I
and
concur with that.
yeah, and even if people start now with a zero level, there is enough time to work on all the 3 sections and get better at all 3. So yeah, that are my views. So yeah, anything
I
else?
guess if there are any more live questions, we can take them, or maybe if we have exceeded the time, aspirants can drop down the questions. We'll answer them later.
Yeah, I think we have exceeded the time.
Okay.
So yes, all the very best to all the aspirants who are going to give CAT 2022, and just be confident in yourself and prepare
Right.
as well as you can. That's
And
it.
ask for help. That is very important. If you don't know something, it is never like there is no way to know it. You go out and seek YouTube videos, or ask in your peer group if you are studying with one. Someone is always there who will come up and help you. So keep
Yes.
learning. That is it. And happy weekend now. It's first.
Yeah.
So Saturday,
Everybody.
Sunday.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye,
Bye.
guys. Bye.
Yeah. Bye. Nice talking to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shraddha.